Hello and welcome back to another video, and today we have a really pleasant surprise, and that is the September ban list for Yu-Gi-Oh! Not gonna lie, wasn't expecting to wake up to seeing this, and it is a pleasant surprise. As much as I really kind of would have preferred to have seen it during a YCS because I love those streams, I'm not complaining. A ban list is a ban list. So let's hop right in. I will say this is not a complete live reaction because I was going to spoil a little bit with it, but that's fine. I thought I'd still go through it and just kind of give my thoughts on it because it's a big, it's a big one. So starting off, we have Glove Ball coming back, which is fine. This card's good, but it's not like not like crazy. So I'm not. I think this is fine. Like this card is it's not bad, but I don't think yeah, whatever. Masterpiece is fine. Morphing Jar, like most of this is fine. Like Snake Eyes coming back's okay. Lightning Storm to 3, I think is the only one which I will talk about. This one's actually kind of interesting, because there's like an argument now that people play like 3 Lightning Storm in formats. You can kind of do it. I know that in the list, even I'm testing it now. I'm playing 3 just because it is a good card. But maybe you go back to 2. Well, maybe you don't even play 3. Like this is an interesting card. I don't even think it ever should have been at 2. It was kind of stupid. Oh, also actually, this card coming back to 3 is also huge. By the way, I say huge. It's very good for the Draco Tail though. Oh, not Draco Tail. The True Draco. Yeah, Lightning Storm to 3 is an interesting choice. I think this will make deck building interesting because like at the same time, Lightning Storm, it's not great to see in too many multiples because it is like a hard once per turn. But like also more back row hate at the same time in a format where Draco Tail's around could be an interesting dynamic. So I'm intrigued to see how the deck building process will go with this. Yeah, would have preferred Heavy Storm, which we'll see, to come back as well, but this is good. I think this is great. All the elements, I mean, most of the time the elements are not that relevant, so yeah, it's like, it's fine. I'm not too worried about it. The semi-limits, Brand of Fusion, fine, this can come back to 3, it's like, it's okay. Limits. There's a lot of these cards. So, let's get into it. First, X-Raziel. Great hit. This card's crazy. This card is absolutely broken. I think this is a completely fine hit to Raziel. It doesn't kill the deck by any means. But yeah, really good. Dormouse, again, a good hit. I think this mouse has been around for long enough. Yeah, fine. Vanquish Soul Raisin. So there were 2 hits that I was thinking that they could do for Vanquish Soul, and I guess we'll talk about them as well. Stake Your Soul is also in here. In short, this deck is dead. I know that a lot of people, or at least it should theoretically be dead. Now, yes, I have seen that there's like a Triff kind of saving the deck with like a heavy canine package. Sure, but it's just not that much better. Like it's the cards that were good were never the canine. It was it was never the canine cards. It was the Vanquish Soul cards, and they are no longer there. Like your matchup into Yummy, if you're gonna play that deck, has got to be the worst matchup on the planet, unless you are somehow gifted enough to just open hands like the deck never got hit on the ban list. So I just think that deck is just no longer functionable. It's so bricky already, and now it's even worse. Like you've literally lost 4 copies of Raisin. Yeah, this deck is not allowed. I think that's way too harsh. I think that was just unnecessary. I think Stake Your Soul to 1 would have been fine, but they shouldn't have hit Raisin as well. Like that's just such overkill. I think the deck is actually fun. Yeah, I think that was a bit too harsh. Like I understand the deck has been around for it's been around for a while, and I understand that like for that reason they can hit it, but it's kind of like when Pearly came out, and then they immediately hit Delicious to 1. Like it's actually worse than that. I think it's just unnecessary. And I genuinely feel bad for Vanquish Soul players because they're coming off this ban list like, damn, now I can't really play my deck. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. I think one or the other would have been fine. I think Stake is fine, but hitting Raisin as well is just way too much. Lacquer coming back, this makes sense because of the new time rules. This card is a welcome back, and as we'll see, this is actually, I would say, necessary. So I think this is good. We'll see how it actually works with the new fusion monster that came out a while back. That was kind of hard to make because we didn't have both fusions, so I think this is good. Link Rebo. Yay! This is Yummy support. I think this card is really good in Yummy. I could be wrong. I'm going to test it. But I think this card is in theory really good because it now gives you a way to basically protect all your Yummy monsters without using Surprise, which is huge. But also in the grind game, being able to just summon a Link 1 when all your snatchies are engraved because of like, you know, a long grind game, it does happen. To now make your minions summon back and now you get to keep playing. This is actually really huge. Like I think Link Karibo is like quite a strong card for Yummy. Infinitely better than Anima. And you would play this and you would also play El Mirage. So I think this card's really good, especially with, as we see here, Herald going to 1. I think this is really good increase for the deck, and I think you should be probably playing it. So this is a good card. I'm looking forward to seeing how Yummy goes with this, and he's definitely stronger. This came back with an errata, so this is fine. Herald to 1 is great. I actually was thinking about this to happen, and I think this is really good. Doesn't really doing that much for Yummy because we get this back. Like, this is fine. Some decks were even playing this at 1, so this is not that crazy of a hit for Yummy. The deck will still be just as strong. This is fine. Christian Inclusion makes sense. Of course, we're hitting all the previous decks, so we kind of want to make sure that all the power level, everything comes down a little bit. I think Christian's completely fine still. Like, you do lose Sulfur Duel plus Jokel consistency, which is a little hard, does hurt. But I think this is warranted at this stage, just to, like, tune it down a little bit. But I think this is fine. The deck is still very playable. I don't think it'd be too great. I'm pretty sure you've seen also destroy everyone with that deck anyways. Obedience School, look, I am biased against Yummy. I really hope they didn't do this, but at the same time, this is a completely warranted hit, and I will say this does not make the deck dead. It doesn't even make the deck, like, worse. Like, it makes it a little bit worse, but the deck is still the best deck of the format. Spoilers. I still think the deck is the best deck of the format. This doesn't change anything. The new support just makes it even stronger. There are supplements for the deck, because Vanquish Soul's deck as well, Vanquish Soul is basically dead now. Cards like Map, which halve your life points, become more viable because you're no longer going to get burnt to death. So there are so many substitutes. If you play a heavy hand trap deck, you can play 1/1 and Map, or if you're playing a heavy breaker variant, you just play double Map. This is completely fine. And when Post Dude comes out, it's even better. But also, again, like, this card, like, basically you have to think of yourself, you have to think of it like, what was this card's, like, role in the format and your matchups into decks. Obedience School was mainly needed to break decks like Vanquish Soul because they had so much disruption, right? If they didn't get to the trap. This card also helps against Draco Tail, but most of the time, you can probably break a Draco Tail board without this, because again, you still have triple engage Hornet Drones, you're completely fine with that. You have 1/1. Again, the new support, we're getting the Marshmallow. So I don't think this is fine. Also, it's a 1-of, so we all know that you see 1-ofs more than you see 3-of, so you're probably going to draw this card every time anyways. But on a serious note, Thrust is still legal. So you still got 4 copies of this going second. I genuinely think that Obedience School to 1 was a good hit, but I don't think it really makes Yummy any worse. There's so many ways to supplement the consistency, so the deck is not less consistent. If you play Map, you play 1/1, you're getting to Cup C, that card still requires 2 cards to respond to it, or else you're still getting to the full board. Even if it's without Surprise, it's fine. Really, I actually think what makes Obedience School an interesting dynamic, which is something that some people might have not considered, is Cross Sheep is no longer needed. So basically, Crush Sheep was played because when you get hit with Contact C on Obedience, you want to make sure you have a card you can get into to clear it. Now that you have a lot less chance of seeing Obedience School, there's a massive argument to just not even play Crush Sheep anymore, and instead play something like IP, which serves the same role, but is better. Because you're not necessarily going to see Obedience School every time. So I think this is fine. And also, I should also mention that, like, you're still playing the card, there's still chances of seeing it, you still play Prosperity to see it. Thrust will be able to search into it going second, which you're never leading with this anyways. So I think it's completely fine. And like going first, you don't need Obedience School. It's only going second that you need it. So I think it's like not as bad as people think it is. I think this is a completely warranted hit, and I think Yummy is still by far the best deck. I actually think Yummy, so Draco Tail, of course, doesn't get hit at all in this ban list, and I think it's by far the best off of this ban list. But I generally think Yummy is the one that gets off even better because of the fact that it just gets Link Karibo for starters, and these 2 hits are not that big enough to make the deck any less than it is. It just means you have to be a little bit smarter in how you play it, but the deck is still just as strong going first. Going second, it's still really strong. Yes, it loses Obedience School, but there are supplementary cards that let you play through it. You're still playing 100 hand traps. Like, this deck's fine. Like, I think this deck is completely fine. Another thing to mention, no Mitsurugi hits currently as well, so like Stake Your Soul, and then Soul, I guess before we get to that, Soul of Judgment is completely warranted. This is fair as cuts cracked. Stake Your Soul, as we mentioned before, is, yeah. Mitsurugi Yummy hasn't been hit at all. Those decks weren't even playing Obedience School, and they were only playing 1 Herald. So that deck is completely viable, which I think is an interesting thing, because again, Herald's not banned, so Herald can still search Harbor in your 1-card combos. So that's another thing to consider. Like, if Yummy Pure isn't as great, you just play Yummy Mitsu, and that deck is probably still better than everything else, because the deck is just crazy. Like, It's super consistent. It breaks through boards. Like it, yeah. Like I think Yummy is so fine after this ban list. As a Yummy enthusiast, I think like, it's the best deck, and I think actually the triangle format is no longer gonna be that. It doesn't exist anymore. It's gonna be more be like Yummy at pushing forward, and then Draco Tail is there as well, and it just for the gap expands. Because again, keeping in mind, Yummy's matchup into Draco Tail is really strong, and no Obedience School wasn't the reason for that. Because now that you don't really have to respect Draco Tail, you can like main deck 3 Ghost Spell, and now you have 3 Ghost Spell, Ash, and Purge to deal with Draco Tail. That deck isn't doing anything. So going second, you're fine. You don't even need an Obedience School. They're probably just not ending on anything. Like, yeah, I think this is an interesting dynamic. And of course, Lightning Storm as well coming back is a little bit worse for Draco Tail as well. So I think it's fine. I think it's just like, all of these hits are good except for the double hit to Vanquish Soul. I think they didn't need it to be hit that hard. Yeah. We'll see how the format shapes with this, but I generally, at least on my early predictions, I think Yummy is the best deck, and I think it's a little bit further. I think Draco Tail will be the second best deck now, and then it'll be K9 Crystron as well on the third best deck. Around there, also Ryziel variants as well, but yeah, we'll get to that soon. For the bans, these 4 are perfect, literally perfect. Moon, understandable. I like the Fiends for stuff, but this, yeah, this just makes sense. Does kill Fiends with Yummy, unfortunately, but like, I wasn't, you know, it's whatever. This is a completely warranted, like, making sure that the engine is not now being played in absolutely everything. Now you have to actually play a pure Fiends deck, which is based. So I think this is a good hit. I'm not complaining at all. Splash Mage is completely warranted as well. That card's crazy, and now Cyber decks actually have to try harder to get onto their bodies. This is a completely fine hit. King of the Feral Imps basically now makes the Mitsu Ryziel deck a lot less synergistic, which is completely fine. But Pure Mitsu, by the way, completely untouched. So, and I think that's good. I think Pure Mitsu, again, is a really based deck. It's a control deck that's like, you know, it's rewards skillful gameplay. And that's also why I think that the Mitsu Yami deck is also really strong, because it didn't need this Feral Imps thing, so it's completely fine. So these are all fine, and then Paradise Smasher basically means we can now play Breakers. Funnily enough, this is probably the biggest hit to Kanon Crystron more than it is Vanquish Soul, because that deck was able to pump out Dice Smashers really consistently. So without this, that deck now has to deal with the Breakers, and I actually think Breakers now get a lot better in the format. Whether it's still better than Hand Traps is something that we'll find out. I'm going to test both. I'm still leaning to Hand Traps, but the Breakers I think are getting a lot better. Because Breakers are good into both Draco Tail, they're good into Yummy, and they're good into Kanon Christian. So they're good into the top 3 decks. So there's a world where you just now play all Breakers. Another thing to keep in mind is that now with like K9 Vanquish Soul not being as big, the K9 itself as a deck is going to be a little less popular. So a lot of cards like Hand Traps are not as punishing as well. Also, another thing to consider is Perulia gets a lot worse now, because that deck card was only really good into K9 Vanquish Soul. There's also not too bad into Crystron, but like, you probably don't even play that card anymore because it's not that great into Yummy. Like, you can get some draws, but I don't think it's like insane, and it's also not that insane. Well, it's not even. Let me rephrase that. It's terrible to Draco Tail. So I think Perulia is a card that I think is going to be a little bit more debatable as to whether we played or not, as well. But yeah, I think this ban list is like really good, with the exception of the Vanquish Soul hits. I'm a little annoyed that Protoss isn't banned. That card is so toxic, and I think it should not be legal. I'm surprised they even unlimited it for some reason, but yeah, this is a little annoying that that card is not banned. But I guess you can't have everything. Sure. But honestly, this is really good. I think this definitely deals with most of like the problems of the format as well. So I'm really happy to see how this goes. I mean, this format is going to be one of the best formats we've ever had, because Yummy and Draco Tail are very skillful decks, and they have really good matches as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this deck goes. I mean, on my biased side, this is great because Yummy really gets off like with only like a slap on the wrist. Vanquish Soul, unfortunate for you guys. You guys got your arms chopped off. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to kind of building it. Actually, for reference, Yummy, by the way, I still think is completely fine. I've even built lists for Yummy. There's 2 different versions of the list. This is the current list I'm testing for Hand Traps, or will be testing. Whether I play 3 of these or not, we'll see. But Yummy, I still stand by, is very strong. I think this deck will be completely fine. We'll see how it develops. You have both the hand trap variant and then also the breaker variants as well. I think Dark Ruler might get a little bit better as well now. So we'll see how this goes up. Lots to look forward to. And I will be making a tier list video as well very shortly, just going over a bit more on the decks and like the repercussions. But I think the ban list, solid, really good. Not as crazy as the last one, or as good as the last one, but like the last ban list we had was also like probably one of the best ban lists that ever existed. But I give this a pretty solid 7 or 8 out of 10 as well. It's really good. I think it fixes the issues we had. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the decks develop and the format develops, because the TCG is in a really good place right now. So thanks guys for watching. I hope you liked the video. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below what your thoughts on this ban list and what you wish you would have seen on here, things you think were too harsh, and I'll see you guys in the next one.